Welcome back, welcome back. Bill Nighy has starred in more than 60 films, 60, including Pirates of the Caribbean and Love Actually, to name but two. And soon you can see him in the final Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. But this week, Bill is starring in a much shorter film, written and directed by his friend Richard Curtis. This film is to promote a new international campaign to fight poverty and climate change through a new tax called the Robin Hood tax. But before I talk to Bill, here's a clip from that epic 3-minute film.
Have you heard this idea about the Robin Hood banker's tax?
Yes. It's a sweet little idea, taxing the banks to help the poor, but I don't think it'll work. It's very complicated and would be very tough on the banking sector.
Which has just been given billions of pounds of taxpayers' money to keep it going.
Well, yeah, of course.
And is still paying itself billions of pounds in bonuses.
Yes.
So the tax is a charge on all bank transactions that don't include members of the public. Bonds, derivatives, currency, speculative stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Very complex.
So the bankers would give how much from each deal they do? 25%?
Well, no, not that much.
10%?
No.
5%?
No, not 5.
More or less?
Slightly less.
What, 1%?
Not quite.
Half of 1%?
No.
0.1%?
No.
Half of that. They give around 0.05% of every deal.
Yeah, that's about right.
And sometimes it'd be even less. That doesn't sound like a lot to most people.
No. I can see that.
And he's here now. Bill Nighy is here right now after his magnificent performance there, and the shortest film you've ever made, probably.
It is, actually, yeah. It's 50 times shorter than The Boat That Rocked, and probably about 70 times shorter than Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
And so you did get an early night the night before, nevertheless, because...
I did, yes. As usual, I didn't sleep, but there you were.
And now, how will it work exactly?
What happens is...
The Robin Hood tax.
The Robin Hood tax, the suggestion is 50p in every £1,000 that's generated in any banking transaction globally that does not involve you or me or any member of the public. These are the speculative banking deals, the gambling, in other words, and it would be electronically collected, and the money, each country would be at liberty to, obviously, to dispense with the money as they saw fit. The suggestion is that given that it could raise something in the region of £250 billion a year, $400 billion, each country could use half of that money to address pressing problems domestically at home, and the other half would be to go some way to fulfilling their moral obligation overseas and try and help the poor. So you could, in the UK terms, you could deal with £4 billion, which would be a fraction of what we would generate, would halve child poverty in the UK. Affordable housing, getting people out of benefit traps. And then when you did consider things overseas, you could do something, for instance, to prevent 500,000 women dying every 12 months trying to have a baby. Not because they're reckless or irresponsible or stupid, but simply because they got unlucky geographically. So it's a very sweet idea. And the idea that the banks would not only then atone, as it were, for the economic crisis which they precipitated, some of those banking people, there are obviously honourable people involved, but they would also become, a lot of that speculative banking has no use social, it has no value socially, but this would obviously make them forever useful.
And how would that be different to some of the ideas that the statesmen are having, and the prime ministers are having? Gordon Brown is talking of a tax like something like this. What would be the difference? Would the difference be that theirs would go to governments and yours wouldn't? Is that the main difference?
That's the main difference. It's a designated tax, so therefore it wouldn't go into the pot. Governments traditionally don't like that. For instance, they don't like to tax you on petrol and spend the money on roads, or tax you on cigarettes and spend the money on health. They prefer all of the money to be available for all of the expenditure. Yeah. And the the other taxes suggested currently and recently by Gordon Brown are welcomed. You know, I mean, they're a wonderful idea as far as they go, but they're not designated to help the poor, which is what, in my view, makes this suggestion so desirable.
And what about, what are you doing in addition to this campaign? What are you doing at the moment?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because I am currently being a mouse in Narnia 3. Fans of the books and indeed the films will know that my name is Reapercheap, and I am a warrior mouse.
A warrior mouse?
I'm a soldier, very high ranking, probably something in the region of a brigadier, I would think, or a field marshal. I'm probably second in command to Prince Caspian. That's how seriously I'm taken. And I'm very happy because it's a wonderful script. It's a beautiful film.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've done the final Harry Potter, or are you going to do it?
I am a wizard. I've done it. Yes, I am finally a wizard. Yeah, it took a while.
A warrior mouse and a wizard
And
in
a wizard.
one year.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
pretty
a minister of magic and a soldier mouse. Yeah,
Hmm.
It's not bad, is it? Really?
Not bad at all. Amazing phenomenon, the Harry Potter films. They
Yeah.
go on making more and more money
Yeah.
each time. Do you have clear ambitions, clear dreams left of what you'd like to do? After the 60 films I just counted.
Yes, I know. When you said 60 films, I wanted to lie down. But it's, I don't have specific, I've never had specific, you know, there's never a part that I burn to play. I just wish to continue doing good work. I possibly, if I was asked, you know, I would like for it to be contemporary work, and I generally like it to be funny. But other than that, I have no, you know, just to keep doing stuff that is, broadly speaking, a good thing in the world.
But you see your future in comedy because you do it so well, yeah?
Well, it's very satisfying trying to make things amusing. It's an endless quest.
And what was the biggest breakthrough so far? Was it Love Actually?
Yeah, Love Actually completely changed the way that I go to work, and it radically changed my professional life. More people saw me in Love Actually probably than they had ever seen me in everything else I'd ever done. And largely in America, obviously, which makes a big difference to a British actor's hopes and desires.
Well, we're all delighted that you didn't do. There was this article here saying you nearly quit acting very early on after you saw yourself on the screen in Liverpool. Who can we thank for saving Bill Nighy for the audiences of the world?
Well, you could actually probably thank my dad, because I was going to retire and I was going to do what people traditionally did in those days when they ran out of ideas. It's what you did instead of an idea. You bought a VW microbus, painted it a funny colour, and drove it to Nepal. And I was on my way to doing that. I'd made the decision, and my dad, who knew nothing about acting or about actors or the life of any kind, and was very classy about it. And I'd robbed a bank on Softly Softly, my first, which is why I was retiring, because I made the mistake of watching myself rob a bank. And he said, why don't you capitalize on what you've achieved already? You've been on television, you've done several plays, you've made a start. Why give up now? And I was surprised at that, because it wasn't a world he knew. And it's not a world that you generally recommend for your child, because it is, you know, it's a bit, it's uncertain, yeah. But he did, and I was impressed by that, and I took his advice. So you can thank Alfred Nighy.
Alfred Nighy, thank you. Bill Nighy, thank you.
My pleasure.